I recently discovered that I really do not have enough time and will to build from scratch everything that I want to have or want to review or just want to build. This is why more and more often I'm deciding for the plug and play or bind and fly versions. The MegaBee I have over here is the version 2.1 plug and play. That means it comes with almost everything, only without the receiver. A RX receiver, because this is, let's say, dependent on your system and you have to do everything by yourself over there, which is good. My plan, by the way, is to put over the R9, not OTA, ignore OTA, I'm not using Access, I'm using Flex. Not because I need some range, but turn out that I have much more R9 receivers than receivers for anything else, and they are small, and I do not have really any free small 2.4 GHz receivers. This is the only reason. Nevertheless, some extra accessories inside, spare propellers. I do not expect I will have to replace those Gemfan. I think they are Gemfan. Yeah, they are Gemfan? Yeah, they are Gemfan propellers. No. Huh, this is interesting. What the hell? What the hell are those propellers? I was under the impression that they are Gemfans, but they are HSKRC. I never fly this yet, so as you can see, even the receiver is not connected, so I'm really surprised to see what's happening. Interesting. I was really under the impression that they were shipping Gemfans. No, never mind. So we have the MegaBee, we have the camera mount, so we can make some basic checks on the design. First of all, let's see how heavy this is before any camera installed and before anything else happens to it. So 252 grams, definitely 251 plus this, plus other stuff, so definitely this is not below 250, because still you have to put the battery, and I do intend to put the 4S 1.5 amp hour battery, which weighs another almost 200 grams, plus around 100 grams from the GoPro, so 300. This will really weight a lot. This will not be light, but I do not really care that much about this limitation, about 250 grams, so, but it's only me. I really just want to be able to fly really proximity between trees in the holes that previously were not available, and something slightly smaller than majority of my 7 inches. Okay, I skipped too much, so let's see what's interesting about the design and what can we tell already before really flying this thing. One, I've heard in places, including the colleague of mine, the friend of mine who has this MegaBee, that those original ducts are, well, they do not survive a lot. Yes, you can print them, you can use different design of the ducts, but probably one of the best idea is to print this with the TPU. Yes, it might grind the tip of the propellers, but still it will not destroy, it will not crack, it will not be destroyed that easily. It has the pre-installed camera, which is the Cadix something. I'm not sure if I will stick with the Cadix or will I put something else over there. I have one toothless, Foxteer toothless, which should fit and is really like probably a good camera, so we will see how it's gonna end up. There's already antenna, there's already XT60 balance plug. Really, honestly, way too long wire to connect your receiver, but you cannot have everything. For motors, for ducts, and everything like that. I'm interested what's below the top plate. This is, I never really yet opened this, but there is no thread safe, there is no thread glue on this, no Loctite, so I'm not impressed. Probably I will have to redo some of the work about this. Really, any kind of the thread lock is one of the best inventions of the 20th century. The other one, of course, is the hot glue, but the thread lock is really something that's super cool, super useful, and when a company does not really put a thread locks on the threads on the flying thing that vibrates all the time, and that does not bring a lot of safety to my mind. Okay, inside we have ESCs. Yeah, ESCs with those small motors, you do not really need a huge ESCs. I like the 20x20 Success X F4 mini stack. It's really nicely built stack, and should work nicely with both Betaflight and perhaps iNav, because yes, I do intend to use iNav on this thing. And the camera, probably the weakest point of the setup is the camera. I do not why, but I do not like how this Rattle Orca, I should have checked this before, right? However, what I can say you that this thing, you see this thing, this angle bracket for the USB. This is interesting. It allows you to connect to the flight controller USB from the top without having to remove the ducts, which was a problem with one of the previous version of the iFlight MegaBees. On the other hand, look how this thing is built from the mechanical perspective. This bracket is held in place only by the USB port itself. So if you will push this too far, too strong, you will apply too much force on this bracket, I am pretty sure that the USB connector will snap. It has to. This is not a good way to install those kind of brackets. This should be supported somehow from just applying too much force from plugging the USB cable to it. So I'm not really impressed. I did, however, check the software it comes with, and it's Betaflight 4, nothing super fancy. Probably will be just fine. I already mentioned I did not fly this yet. I just got it, and I'm showing you what my original impression. After this pseudo unboxing, now let's go to some flight footage, because the rest of the video will be recorded after I actually had some time with the iFlight MegaBee, and then perhaps we will go into the conclusions, right? Right. Okay, let's go to the future now. So that was the MegaBee. Now we come to the most important question. Is the iFlight MegaBee a good drone, a good quadcopter, a good multi-rotor drone, and a good Cinewhoop, because this is how this class is called? And here I have to say that, yeah, actually it's pretty decent. However, no, before I will go to the negative aspects, because I usually begin with negatives and I should be more positive and optimistic person. What I like, really nice build quality. The hardware is really nice hardware. It's flying almost out of the box. You just connect your receiver and go flying, and it's flying, really. I just plugged in the receiver, connected the battery, went flying, everything was just fine. However, there are a few aspects of this specific Cinewhoop and all the Cinewhoop class I'm not the biggest fan of. For this specific MegaBee hardware. The original camera was something like it was one of the Cadix thingies, and I was really... sometimes just the colors on the original camera were really not like I expected them to be. I know I'm kind of spoiled by the Runcam Micro Eagle, which for me is really the best image out there. And after I replaced the camera with the Foxeer Toothless, I was really like enjoying the flights with this thing much more. And probably the weakest part of the whole design are the ducts. Not because they are not really doing much in terms of improving the thrust from the motor, rather the fact that the original ducts, 3D printed ducts, are not the best, really, like, I don't want to say quality, but they were not the strongest. I kinda destroyed all the ducts in relatively fast, even after not so hard crashes on stuff. And ultimately, after burning, I don't know, like 10, maybe 12 lipos with this thing, I had to print a completely new set of ducts, this time stronger, slightly heavier but stronger, with some ribs to reinforce them. And I'm continuing to fly it with the heavier ducts. And yeah, and I'm really not the biggest fan of how the Cinewhoops are behaving in flight, because those ducts are giving them really a very big side area. They are very sensitive to the wind, and it's extremely simple to stall the propellers inside of ducts. Some kind of the wind from the side and low throttle, and immediately there are some problems, wobbles that are really almost impossible to tune out. However, if you really do tune out, and by the way, I'm flying my MegaBee with iNav on board, and it's working just fine, absolutely no problems. And I even think that by default the iNav was doing slightly better than the original Betaflight 4.0 that was installed over there. By the way, the tune of the Betaflight that came flashed into the flight controller, which is Betaflight F4 compatible, was really not the best. No, there was some strange wobbles, it was not responding, flashing iNav, and then slightly tuning there, and everything improved the flight performance really quite well. But it's really fun. Yeah, it's really fun. You can really fit into those tight spaces between trees, fly between trees without having to worry that you will hit something and break the propeller. Of course, you can break the duct, but still, it's easier to fly it slow in tight spaces. And if you have a place where you can benefit from having relatively slow but quite agile and protected from hitting stuff drone, it's really fun. No, really fun, although sometimes slightly boring, but still fine. And although relatively small size, by the way, I'm flying this thing on the 4S with the same lipos I'm using for everything else, almost everything else I'm flying, which are Tatus 1550 75 or 90, I don't really remember, 4S. Even with this relatively big battery and the GoPro in front, I was still able to have flight times like 6 minutes after removing the GoPro 7 and making the thing lighter by 150 grams. The thing was flying 8 minutes without much problem. So yeah, it's really fun. If you do not expect your MegaBee to be a racer, just you want to fly in tight places, for example in the tree, or around your property, or in the trees, or even, to be honest, between people, because those ducts are mostly to protect people from getting hit with the propellers. It's fun. It's fun if you really do not expect this to be a racer, and I do think that the MegaBee is actually quite good Cinewhoop in those areas. Really like tough build, not counting that, good hardware, good quality, everything assembled nice and solid. So yeah, good one. I do not regret spending my own money on this thing, because yeah, I got it for my own money, and I do not regret. It's fun. Have I said it's fun enough? It's fun. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and special thanks to all my patrons for supporting me and allowing me to make those independent reviews when I can
say whatever I want about stuff without making someone feel like sending me some hardware was a bad idea because I just ranted about stuff. If I buy something, I can say whatever I want about the stuff, right? So thank you all my patrons for allowing me to do those independent reviews, and until the next one, bye bye.